little tip for fly fishing. So you see those reed beds there and this bankment, and I'm staying very quiet, no heavy footfalls on the bank, and I won't approach the bank for about 15 feet until I've first cast onto that water to make sure there's no fish just sitting waiting for something to drop from the bank into the water to feed on. So it's quite important. Be very careful with your footfall on the bank. Easy to spook a wild brown trout. No takes yet. I've had a rise over here. And a nice rise way too far out for me over there on the other bank. But very little movement of fish so far. Beautiful day for it. Absolutely stunning. I'm using two subsurface wet flies, a Connemara black and a small green olive. I just took a rise there. I have the olive on the point. I think that's what I got the rise on there. It just as it hit the water. It's a very small fish. There's a nice eddy just out there in the water. You can just see the sort of eddy surface. I'll leave it around that way a bit. You can catch the trout coming up for a fly. Sort of difficult to be a fisherman and a cameraman at the same time, because when fish takes, you forget the camera. Camera's just left looking out at the water and they run down the bank to land a fish. That's what happened last time. I like to get a good straight cast out straight across and then let the flies drift in the current and sink slowly before I start to retrieve them too much. I'll straighten the line when they've hit the water. I'll set them and then I'll let them drift in the current down to where they start to hit the shallows, and then I'll retrieve them. And it's usually there that I'm getting the takes. It's a lovely day for it though. Occasional breeze just gives me a ripple across the surface water, and that's usually when I'm getting the takes. These sedges along the Corrib. This one's a black sedges. So I'm going to bring these flies in, change the pattern, and have another go. And while I'm having my lunch and looking down at my flies, I thought maybe I'd show. It might be interesting if I show a couple of the flies that I'll be using later on today. So while I'm on wet flies, given the temperature that it's in, I'm going to be using sort of slightly brighter flies. So I'm going to use maybe cock robin. So some other flies then that I'll be using will be the let's say the mayfly wet fly. This is a kind of a yellowy pattern to that. A very effective fly on the Corrib, on the Loch Corrib, and on the lower reaches of the river. So, and you get young growths taking those flies as well. Another one of my favourites here that I use very often, also a mayfly variation, wet fly, brilliant on the loch. This is a large loch fly really, rather than a river fly or a lake fly. And then when I'm fishing, let's say as I work my way back down past Menlo Castle, then I'm going to go into a more sedge variation. I'll be looking for some sedges, surface sedges, small bumble patterns. This particular bumble pattern is a very, very, very good pattern for a Corrib. If you can see that there, a very, 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 very good pattern that for the Corrib. And I'll be using that one as I move down the river. And I often get takes late in the evening on this one, down by Menlo Castle and on this side of the Dangan and the sports grounds there next to the river. So all down along that stretch, that's a very very unique fly It's kind of a spidery bumble spider or sedge of some kind. And it's a very, very, very similar fly. One I tied myself is a kind of a sedge bumble, and he sits neatly on the surface, and I twitch them along at about an inch at a time in a very quick motion, and they do get good, very, very good takes. So I also have here some streamers that I'd be looking at maybe using. If the wind picked up, I might get away with some quick moving surface streamers, and that does bring quite exciting fish because the fish attack them from below and quite quickly. Again, I want a bit more power in the water, a bit more speed in the water for fishing them, and this is quite a still spot. So I'm more hoping if I get an even rise that I'm going to be able to stick to my dry fly fishing, use maybe some small mayfly patterns and some more small duck fly patterns. I think there's still a bit of duck fly about, and there certainly is a few olives about, so that's usually what I'm going to be concentrating on today. And I've had one or two fish rising. I had one take earlier on, just in close down by the reeds over there. It wasn't a great size of a fish, but nevertheless it showed me that they're interested in the flies and the pattern that I'm using. But one thing I've noticed a lot of, there's a lot of spiders, a multitude of colours as well. As soon as I put my jacket down, there was 2 or 3 spiders on it, and there was one on my arm there a second ago, a little red fella, kind of an orangey spider. So you're at the water's edge, a lot of these spiders, there's another fish take out there now at the minute. A lot of these spiders can often get blown onto the water, and then they try to cross the water or make it back to shore, and the fish pick them up. So I might change to a spider pattern given the kind of the day that's in it, and have a look through my box there. I have one or two noticing the orangey kind of look about the spider that I had on my wrist a minute ago, and then there was a little kind of a bluish one that was on my jacket when I arrived. These are the things you should notice when you're out and about, when you're arriving at your fishing spot. So I have a kind of a nice spider pattern here, which is a beaded spider pattern. So I might give that a go. I've sedges crawling all over my camera as well. So they're in shot. So there's a lot of insects out to be aware of, and that ecology lesson, you only get it at the riverbank. You don't get it in a classroom. You don't get it by looking into a book. You get it looking into the water and seeing all the microcrustaceans and the bioorganisms and the minute, almost invisible life organisms that live beneath the surface film of the water. It's very interesting, and I can often find myself looking and being interested in the very sort of how the little creatures evolve and how they cling to rocks or how they move about on the rock surface beneath the water. So it's it goes in line with my next invention a lot. That knowledge is what's brought that invention to the fore. So you get that spent time actually in the field and doing the hard graft, as they call it. I'm afraid I'm in my office, I'm in my element. I'm looking at fish rising, I'm deciding what pattern to use, and I'm making a video of my new invention, which is for fishing. So I just gotta keep fishing. Not too bad. It's clean liquid. I'll take it. So it's been an interesting enough day. It's been nice. It's been got my work done with my Jody video. I hope I'm gonna have to do another 2 or 3 takes of that just to make sure I've got it. And that's on for my new product. So as it currently sits, I'm just taking a break. I'm having a drop of water and a bite of my sandwich, and hopefully I'll get some success. If there's any other advice that I'm missing, if I'm missing anything here, don't be afraid to let me know in the comments, and I'm not an all-knowing angler. I see a nice fish moving out there at the moment though. But I do have a keen eye for it, and I do like to share the information best I can. And if you have any tips for me, do drop them in the comments below, and I'll read them all and I'll reply to them all as the day goes by. Thank you very much for watching.